Let me bring in former Resources Minister Keith Pitt, live from Canberra. Keith, good to talk to you again. Now, we all know Parliament gets very, very willing, and I've seen that and been involved in it over many, many years. But is this as low as you've seen it sink?
Chris, listening to it again, it just makes my blood boil. I mean, seriously, saying that we protect pedophiles. How low can you go in the bucket? It is a disgraceful slur. It is appalling. It is horrific. The minister should have withdrawn. They should never have said it. And then to be out in the public saying the same thing on morning TV and elsewhere, it is just woeful. I mean, what happened to Mr Albanese's kinder and gentler parliament? It's nowhere to be seen when they're under the pump.
Well, this is the thing. The left always talk about this, the kind of gentler parliament, and we're going to get things and we're going to be adults about it and whatever. And this is grubby, and it's so obviously grubby because they're under pressure to try and protect Clare O'Neill. I'm staggered that Tony Burke gets up there and he says it shouldn't be withdrawn.
Look, I remember Mr Burke when we were trying to put through mandatory sentencing for criminals and pedophiles and gun runners, etc. He absolutely did his pills. We suggested that they were supporting them by voting against mandatory sentencing. And yet he's happy to support this type of slur. I mean, Peter Dutton's an ex-police officer, as are a number of other members, including Lou O'Brien and Pat Conahan, Woody, and there's a stack of ex-defence personnel. And even just for me, I was offended. The idea that you protect a pedophile, and there will be people who have been impacted in that building, whether they're in the crowd or whether they're on the floor of the parliament. I just can't believe Labor's taken this line when it's their mess up. They made the mistake and they could have fixed it quite easily. And now we've got court instructions that said there could have been preventative detention. They didn't have to release them.
Yeah, they've completely stuffed this. And the interesting thing is that Peter Dutton's been onto this from the start. In fact, his ideas, his suggestions about how to clean it up are the ones they've ended up following through on. I've never seen an opposition leader lead a government, really, the way Peter Dutton has over the past couple of weeks. Yet this is still going to be very messy to clean up. What's the latest? What's the latest on when Parliament's sitting and when you're going to get these laws through Parliament?
Well, we've adjourned for the day in the House of Reps. The Senate sits next week and we were recalled for one day. It cost millions of dollars to recall the Parliament because they cancelled a week earlier. But the reason that Peter understands these issues is he's experienced, he's a professional, he knows what he's doing. And in fact, it's his advice that they should have taken in the first place. You've got ministers on L plates who simply don't understand how the system works and what needs to be done to keep Australia safe. And they should just take Peter's advice, do it quietly, say thank you very much and get on with it. I expect we'll see more from this next week. Yeah,
just quickly while we've got time, I want to show you a bit of Andrew Charlton, a former Rudd advisor, but now a backbench first-term MP. He said the quiet bit out loud about what they're doing here.
I'll be honest with you, Peter Dutton has done a pretty good job over the last 10 years of being the hard man, the tough guy on borders and on defence. But now that he's opened up this front against the government, it's a good opportunity to actually review what is his record.
Yeah, he's actually admitting there that they know he's tough, so they're trying to dig around and throw some mud and pretend he's not tough. And he says the trouble was that Dutton, when he was minister, let in too many asylum seekers on planes. Now, we all know that's a whole different story. No one arrives on a plane without a visa, so there's no comparison between boat arrivals and plane arrivals.
Well, Chris, we had to deal with 50,000 people that they let in.
Yes.
And it was these types of people that we had to deal with. And Peter Dutton did it. The reason he's so good at it is we've had to manage these issues over the last 9 years, cleaning up Labor's mess. And now everything you hear is Peter Dutton, Peter Dutton, Peter Dutton. That's all Labor has to say.
Yeah, as NZYQ arrived on a boat under Labor and remained in detention under Peter Dutton and the coalition. And that sums up the story.
Where they should be.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, Keith. Appreciate it.